How are
good.
you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm super good.
Do we want to be chronological and you start talking about your earliest memory of whatever happened to you?
Here is this person from a little, uh, uh, from a child that has always had this relationship with the Almighty. When I was taken before the Creator, it was 2 years ago in July, when I'm walking out of my den and I'm talking to God about something that I've always talked to him about for a long time, about how I just think it's so marvelous that like just in this one little spot we call Earth, there's like 7 billion things, all made the same parts, and everyone unique. I said, God, that just like so fascinates me.
Mm.
And I was walking out of my den, probably like 5 steps. And next thing I knew, I didn't know I was taken or anything. All I knew was that I was standing before the Creator, which I thought at the time was God. And it wasn't God. And it bothered me. But let me just say this. I didn't know I was taken.
Okay.
What I remember was walking just where I was and walking down my hall, but I was given over time, because it would have blown my circuits, because I have been in those positions before where I know these things happen and you're just not built for it. Like in 93, 94, when it was 9 months of I began to crumble. My body began to crumble. I couldn't withstand this. Human body couldn't. And then over period of time, they began to release to me a little bit of a time what had happened and what I saw. Like, I didn't keep walking down the hall and remember that I stood before the Creator and saw the birth of souls and saw all that. It was little by little they released it to me.
Right.
But I know I was taken.
Yeah.
And then I have a slight, I don't even know, I don't know how to describe it, that there I was here again, walking in the hall.
Yeah.
I remember after my 9 months of walking, what I call my walk between heaven and earth. And I really did it wasn't just an experience. It was like, like a 20-minute or a 30-minute or an hour or whatever you have. It was 9 months. And I did have, 1 foot in this world and 1 foot not.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I tell you, it was physically, it was, I don't even know how to explain it. Well, I began to crumble.
Yeah.
And at the time, the time I was weightlifting, I was my club wanted to train me for Miss Colorado for not the beauty part, but the weightlifting.
Right.
But my body began to crumble. And everything that has happened to you is an opportunity. And I think that my story begins way when I was little, way when decisions that you make about what's not so positive and how you say, oh, and then you want to make sure you want to make sure that you help others so that doesn't happen to them, that you learn compassion from that, it's your gift, that this is your gifts, this is your training and your gifts. And you can so help others in the world with it. So when you go through what other people say, oh my gosh, how terrible, I'm so sorry. And I'm going, but no, not really, because it made me who I am, and it'll make you. And look at, I vowed to be a better mother. I vowed to be a better wife. I vowed to be, a better human being from this. And so one of the messages I've always felt that I bring is that yeah, this is not tragic, folks. This is a gift.
Right.
My greatest growth and miracle came when I questioned. I don't tell many people that, but for 9 months, I was thinking that in my head. And I wouldn't say it because I said, I'm not coming out of my mouth, because if this comes out of my mouth, I know you already know. And so one day I was vacuuming in front of my house. I mean, I'm vacuuming by my front door. And it was time. I'd suffered. I was really uneasy in my skin. And I was saying this in my head for 9 months. And so finally I said, okay, I got this vacuum cleaner, I'm vacuuming. And I said, okay, God, I'm going to say this out of my mouth. Now, I know you already know it's in my heart and in my head. I know that you already heard it. But I'm human and I'm here. So for these words to come out of my mouth makes it like more real to me, because I'm a human. Like I'm really saying it out of my mouth. And I said, Mary, and this is exactly my exact thoughts that I had for 9 months. Mary and Joseph on a donkey and a baby in a manger. That sounds like the three little bears. And then the second thing I said was, and what's this Holy Spirit thing I keep hearing about? I've heard about that all my life. What is that? And then zap, away I went. And when I questioned, I have to tell you, for those 9 months, I had never questioned the fairy tale. I just hadn't questioned it. It's like reading Little Red, like read with my grandkids, Three Little Bears. And, to them, those little bears, that's what happened, right? They don't question it. They know it's probably not whatever, but they don't question it.
Right.
Well, sure. I question it, but I have to tell you, in my skin, I was really uncomfortable. I'd never been that way. It was like in my self, I had a splinter that I couldn't get out. I couldn't find it. And that was it. It was like I was scared to question, because I thought, well, you'll go to hell, or God will be mad at you, or I don't know what was going to happen to me. The ground open up and get swallowed up.
So obviously you're a soul from the angelic realm. I really have no idea. I should ask our guide sometime. I don't know, even if they could tell me, I don't know how many souls make up the angelic realm, but you are a soul that comes from the angelic realm. Okay. So the angelic realm, this just hang with me. This may initially feel confusing. The angelic realm essentially is led by the archangels, is coordinated by the archangels. Okay. But because of late, more angelic realm souls are incarnating on Earth, the angelic realm in fairly recent times decided they needed what you would, I call it a council, a congress, almost like a congressional body that comes together to make decisions for the angelic realm that relates to Earth incarnation when angelic souls come to Earth. Does that make sense?
And when they do, so that council its purpose is just to deal with the affairs of Earth-based angelic people?
Yes, to deal with the preparation and the guidance for angelic realm souls who agree to incarnate on Earth, to prepare them.
Remember when I said to you, when you said, I think you're an AR soul, and I said, Linda, well, yeah, everybody would want to be one of those.
Right.
And you said, well, yeah, maybe, but they're not.
Exactly.
And
exactly.
I'm the opposite of that. Well, you know that. And I think that's one of the things that draws you to me is that that I don't know, I in this aspect, I just don't have ego about it. I guess, you guys all call it humble, but just that I know what I don't know.
Of course.
And so I can't stand on a lot, really, because there's, I mean, what do I want to say? I don't know what I know.
I mean,
How's that?
but I get why you're saying what you're saying, and it's different. How to say this? Obviously, I've been a psychologist in private practice for a huge long time, 40 some years. And so I've had to learn over the years. I just wanted to go back to and finish so that you have some sense when I'm telling you things of how does that validity, where does that come from for me? Because I'm really hung up on as much validity as is possible. So the 4 archangels are Michael, Gabriel, Raphael,
Yeah.
and Uriel.
And who?
Uriel, Uriel, Uriel. Recently, I was talking to our guides, and because some people will say, some teachers and spiritual people will say, there are more than 4 archangels. There are 6 or 7 different people. One person says 6, one person says 7. So I said to whichever guide it was, I said, so please can give me, you know me, Barb, I'm this sort of left brain person. I want the straight scoop.
Sort of. You
I
are
want this,
wonderful. I love that
I want
about
the
you.
details. So I
Yeah.
said, so how many archangels are there? And here's what was said. And sometimes they change it. They give me more information as time goes by. But whoever I was talking to said, Linda, there truly are more than 4. And it really is not, it doesn't matter whether there are 6 or there are 7. And of course, that's the thing where humans get hung up on. Are there 6? Are there 7? Da, da, da. And my guide said, there are more than 4. And it's almost like we as humans get so hung up on, well, there's this Archangel Michael or Archangel Gabriel. And of course, then we learn that these archangels can embody. And so I don't know, except to tell you that there's more than 4. It's more common than we think for archangels to embody at this time on Earth. There is an original soul group. These are things I learned years ago, and I teach this stuff in a lot of the courses I teach, but there is an original soul group that came to incarnate on the planet in order, the intention, the commitment was to move us to a place of unity, to what I like to call the one is many and the many is one. That was the overriding intention of this large, what I call a conglomerate Earth-based soul group that came to Earth in the beginning of embodiment on Earth, incarnation on Earth. And most people know that as the Melchizedek soul group. It's an Earth-based soul group of 144,000 souls that came to Earth in the beginning of incarnation on Earth. It's a large soul group, Barb, where many of these souls keep incarnating. They keep trying to move us forward. One example would be the Moses soul, and the Moses soul has been here time and time and time again and still incarnates. And I can say more about that group, but just setting that piece out there.
Okay.
But think about it. This large conglomerate soul group that's actually written about in the Old and the New Testament. You can find it. If you just put 140, just put in if you're going to go Google it at some point, 144,000 souls. Obviously, that's a very significant number, ones and fours.
I wonder if I was, yeah, okay.
That soul group are Earth-based souls.
And Earth-based souls are what?
Earth-based souls are souls that incarnate almost exclusively on Earth.
Wow.
They don't incarnate except maybe on rare occasion anywhere else. And they are not angelic realm souls. They are souls designed to embody on earth. And remember, I'm an earth-based soul. Okay. But it makes perfect sense that the angelic realm would work with these earth-based souls to evolve humanity. And so it makes perfect sense. This goes back to you and John Lewis and MLK and MLK's wife, whose first name escapes me right now too. But
Not Loretta?
is
that
no, you're
Loretta
thinking,
King?
yes, I think you're right. Loretta Scott King,
Hmm.
right? Yeah.
I think so.
It makes perfect sense that in your work, you've come together with these highly evolved earth-based souls. As an angelic realm soul, you've come into contact with them.
And the angelic realm, what we think that you think that I'm at they are made from the very beginning. They are made to be and for direct service to the Almighty,
That is correct.
to everything.
That is correct.
And that's why I go home. That's why I always go directly there.
I like to use the word emissary. Angelic realm souls are emissaries of the divine. They carry the divine energy. And when you come to earth, you bring that high energy. That's how it gets literally brought to earth, because you incarnate.
Really?
Really?
We bring that.
Yeah. That's your job. You might say it is your only job. Now, it's really not your only job. Your job is to be a wife and a teacher and a grandmother and a mother and blah, blah. But
Well, and you know what, Linda, when you think of, and I know we'll talk more about this, but with me trying to accept and believe
yeah,
that about myself,
right.
I go back and I think, okay, what evidence is there that there could be any truth to that? Because I think my humanness very much, I live, well, I don't know. I mean, it does come forward, but like you said, and Teague says, and she says, Barb, everybody that I know that knows you, I don't know Linda, but I know she's telling you the same thing. Everybody that I know that I see, they all see you like this. You don't see you.
Exactly.
You don't see you like this. But when so that's good, because that's some evidence that maybe there's some truth to this. The other thing is I go back to my dear friend Penelope, who said, I just don't know anybody who loved God like that, who didn't have any training or didn't come from any faith, really, any religion, whatever. And so even Penelope, saw that. And then I think about who I was as a kid. And I think about the time that I can't think of a time that I wasn't talking to God.
Yeah.
I can think of many times he saved me. I mean, just literally, I can think of 2 exact times he made me invisible.
Yeah.
And saved my life.
Yeah.
I mean, I go back and I look at some of this, and then I think about who I've been, like in college, they called me mother. Because they said, how'd you get like this? They'd say, how'd you get like this? How do you know this stuff? And then this picture of me in college, sitting back, somebody took me, I was in, photographer, some other guy in the class. And I'm sitting, leaning back in a chair, which I'm famous for, with my feet on the table and the book in my hand. I have this in my office, is How to Know God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I'm putting some pieces together now.
And obviously you don't live in my shoes and have listened to far more regressions than I could possibly count. But I don't have a lot, I don't have a lot of clients who tell me the things you've told me, or have that night. I mean, when you're in regression now, when you're in trance,
Mm-hmm.
I've had some, so that's how I have knowledge and familiarity. And it is not the norm for clients to have what happens in a regression, like what happens for you.
I
So
think
tell
it's
me
very,
about Moses.
well, I don't know, except that since a child, since I saw Moses kneeling at the burning bush, right?
Mm,
I don't I have remembrance of that.
mhm.
And I've never forgotten it, very strong. And when I led, and this picture has been, it's been in everything from the Pope's newsletter
Yeah.
to Penthouse magazine. And it's the kids and I standing on a mountain, just saying, let freedom ring, because the people of Sudan had said the world's forgotten about us.
Mm,
But when I'm leading them up there to the mountain,
mhm.
I told my principal and I told the kids, I said, just stay a minute, because I knew this was holy. The kids knew it was holy. I'm a public school teacher, but we all knew it was holy. I said, just give me a minute. And I always walk with a staff. And I have this thing about my dad. I'll show you this picture I have this picture that my father had, he was a world collector, right?
Mhm.
I love antique and antiquity and history, and I've collected along with my dad. But he said, Barb, I just want to know, I ended up getting his whole entire estate. But at one point he said, Barb, I just want, what do you want? And I said, Dad, whatever. It doesn't matter to me. Anything that you loved is fine. He said, no. And I said, I looked at this picture and it looks like Moses, like the light of God. And I said, I like that most, Dad. And he
Mhm.
said, well, it's not the most valuable piece I have. And he told me where it came from and whatever. Well, and so when I was down in the mountain with those people, with those kids, and I said, let me go. And I had this staff, long stick. And I'm walking up to this mountain. I said, Father, I know. I feel like I am Moses, and I'm leading these children to you. And
My-
I'm walking along in deep prayer, and I look down, and at my feet, and I'll show you this, I looked down, and there was a perfect, almost oval, yin yang rock. And I looked down at my foot, and I went, oh, and all the kids came running. They go, what'd you find? And it's perfect with white and black. And everybody says, how'd they make that? With a white dot in it and a black dot in it at my foot when I'm talking to Moses.
Mhm.
So then when I went to Sudan, I've always had this thing about Moses, feeling like Moses, remembering Moses. And I said, I will, because I love to photograph, I will look my whole life for my Moses. And I'm in the deserts. I'm in hell on earth in Darfur.
Mhm.
I saw hell,
Mhm. Mhm.
kind of the outskirts of hell. I was in hell in Darfur.
Mm.
And here comes, I'll show you the picture. Here comes this man who had just lost, his son was killed, his wife was taken, da. And Darfur was Muslim against Muslim. It was Muslim against black Muslim. And this guy in the desert, 130 degrees,
Mhm.
sun, I had to use a flash to get anything on him because their skin, Sudan means land of the black.
Mhm.
I looked at him, all in his turban, elegant, and this man, and his eyes are fire red, like the fire that Moses
Mhm.
saw, that
Mhm.
reflected off of his eyes.
Yeah. Yeah.
I looked at that man, and I said, Moses.
Wow.
I took 3 rolls of film. I just sat and cried and just clicked, and I have him. I found my Moses, and there he was. And I have a huge connection to those people.
So let me just toss this out for you to chew on. Recently, I was talking to our guides again because I can do some identification. I'll explain, but at times I can identify 2 people that are the same soul.
2 people that are the same soul.
So that happens. What I'm about to tell you stems from a client. Okay. I was talking to our guides to try to get some information for a client to validate some stuff. And our guides started talking to me about the soul of Moses. And our guide said, Linda, Moses continues to incarnate. Moses is part of this large 140, is part of the 144,000, or what's called the Melchizedek soul group. And our guide said, think about Moses. Moses was all about nonviolence. Our guide said, here are two examples. I can tell you more, but unfortunately I don't have time. But our guide said, here are two examples of incarnations of the Moses soul that have passed. One is Gandhi, Mahatma Gandhi, the father of modern India.
Yeah, who I have a thing about. Okay.
And the other is Nelson Mandela. That they are both
Yes.
incarnations of the Moses soul.
I believe that. I
Yeah.
mean, I see that. I can see where that can be true.
And I could tell you more. There are other souls that are too.
About this connection for me with the Moses
Ooh.
and Michael. Well, now Gabriel.
Yeah.
I mean, this is just like mind blowing.
The angelic realm is preparing more angelic souls to come to earth because they're so badly needed.
Well, I'm never going to forget, as long as I live, when I was supposed to talk to you and I was just taken. I mean, that was not BS. That I don't even know how to explain that. You know, I get busy with everything. I'm a busy person, too busy. I need, all my cards are telling me, everything I'm reading, everything is saying to me, all just so strongly, I need to go into meditations. You know, I haven't done that in so long. I need to focus on not everything that needs to get done. I need to spend more quiet time because that's where they're going to talk to me. And
that makes sense.
yeah, that is extremely strong for me now, and I got it. And you know how I doubt, right? I mean, I just doubt it all. I don't try. I just do. But what really changed me, which surprises me, and I think it did change me, is on my birthday, actually. I was sitting here at night and I don't know if the word upset, I don't even know what word, I don't know the word. I don't know if it's amazed. I can't find a word to describe what it was when I listened to that. But I know I was kind of maybe upset because I listened carefully. You know, there's a lot of quiet in there, which, you know, I mean, I don't always say a lot, right? Because I'm where I'm at. I'm home. And I'm just, you know, I get bathed in energy or I get restored.
And your arms are moving.
Yeah.
You know, it's all audio, so you don't see that, but your arms are usually moving.
Yeah. Well, because I'm floating around.
Right.
You know, and I think there is a very, there's a prayer that in 2004, when I saw, it had to be Michael, a huge, huge wing. But I so remember it was, I mean, and I think what I believe it to be is a very ancient and very holy ritual or ritualistic way of honoring the Almighty. I can't, I mean, I kind of know what it is, but I also, you know, and I can't control that when it happens or doesn't happen. It just is when it does. But when I was listening to this, I said, Barb, no, Barb, that's not you. You could not, it's you, but it's not you making you do that.
Right.
It's the first time I believed that, because what I was hearing
And even how of course, my voice, and sometimes it's extremely hard to talk because I'm more there than here.
That's right. You're so deep that exactly. That makes
Yeah,
sense.
it's like I can't. It's like forming those words is like pouring molasses in a freezer.
Exactly.
And um, I heard that, and I heard myself, and it's the way that I say things.
Mhm.
They're almost like they're not in almost today's language. Sometimes
Mhm.
they're
Mhm.
they're pulled from
Mhm.
something ancient. The
Right.
way, just the way the words are put.
Right.
And when I listened, I thought I couldn't make myself do what I was hearing.
Of course. And you know, when I sit on the therapist side of things, I know there's a qualitative difference. It's like, I mean, oh, there's so many things I could say, but number one, when a client can hardly speak, what that tells me is that in terms of hypnosis, you are so deep. But the value of being that quote unquote deep is because you're connecting at your soul level.
Yeah.
In other words, you've gone into what we would call theta state. And that allows you to be speaking from your soul versus your humanness. And that's what's happening. And I always know that's what's going on when that occurs. But the frequency where you have to go to reach your soul or your higher self, because you're channeling your higher self, that's what I totally believe is happening. The high frequency, so to speak, where you connect with your higher self, and I'm just going to say she, even though your higher self really doesn't have a gender, but and she is receiving, you know, from the divine. That's a high frequency. So you as a human have to go deep enough to let go in order to let that conduit, if you will, function.
Well, because that higher self of Barb is mostly home.
That's right.
So I only have here just what I need to get this work done.
That's right.
And so I've learned that, and that I believe because I met myself. I
Mhm.
never did give you, I don't think I gave you that picture, but I met myself, as you know, on the mountain in Alaska. I mean, I
Mhm.
saw myself.
Yeah.
I mean, the rainbow came. I
Yeah.
mean, that
Yeah.
there's picture. I mean, that didn't mean my husband saw it.
Yeah.
And I saw me out there.
Yeah.
And I was so in love with her. When I saw her, I said, and of course I call her because I'm in this life of
Of
her.
course. Of
And
course.
I just said, is that me?
Mm.
I said, was talking to God. I said, God, is that me?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, wow. And it looked, I saw the soul May 24th, 1994 on somebody. I saw, so I know what it looks like.
Mm-hmm.
The energy pulsate, I know.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not male or female. It's just energy.
Mm-hmm.
And so I knew what I was seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It was more distant. The one that I saw on May 24th was much, much closer, but I recognized it. And I'll never, ever, ever, and I said to her, Barb, wow. I said, oh, I love you so much. I am so grateful to you. I love you, love you, love you. You're awesome. Thank you, Barb. Thank you for everything.
Mm.
I love you.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was asked so clearly, which one of you is real?
Mm. Okay.
And I looked out and I didn't even hesitate. And I said, that's me.
Yeah. Well, because that's the core of you.
That was the core of me. So when I didn't know all about that part of me was home, and I didn't know that until actually relatively recently. And I didn't know that. And I have to tell you, that was one of the greatest gifts that I think for my lifetime here. One of the greatest gifts that I was given that would sustain me, because, you know, I need to stay grounded because I want to go home, right? Is knowing most of me is home.
Mhm.
This part is here working, but I am where I want to be.
Sure.
Most of me. And
Yeah.
so, and somebody, maybe, you know, you could read that now, you could know that, but all this stuff, I was never read any of it. I was never told any of it. So I know what they're telling me is pure because I didn't read it, and I learned it and then read it. But I never read it and then learned it ever once. And so I know that when people write about that, I know that's true.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one, but it sure is hard as hell to find anybody else.
Well, and yeah, and you know what I know about angelic realm souls, I've learned from clients that people will say, Linda, what can I read about this? And I'll say, I don't know.
No,
I don't know. It's like
no.
I
Near
have
death. Do you know the only thing I could read for so long? Betty Eadie's Embraced by the Light was one of them. The Paracombe Prescription, or whatever that was, the Celestine Prophecy, and most of it is near death.
Right, exactly. And there are people like Danny and Brinkley is another one. Betty Eadie and Danny and Brinkley are two of the earliest people writing about their near-death experiences. And Danny is often on the speaking circuit and panels, and I've been on panels with Danny for a number of years. And I think he's died, oh my God, 8 to 10 times and come back. And I know him quite well. But still, he doesn't talk about, I mean, I can feel the validity in his energy. I can feel the core of who he is, but he doesn't talk about the angelic realm. I get so many people that say, you know, what can I read? Where can I read this? And because like angelic realm souls, I think it was 2 weeks ago, I forget how many between lives regressions I guided, 3 maybe. And 2 or all 3, now I don't remember, were angelic realm souls. And these people, when they come for the regressions, they don't even understand that concept. And I don't tell them about it before I start the regression. And so it's clear to me that these people are being guided into my practice so I can learn more. And I think I'll just add in, I think I told you, I think I shared this, but so there's a push right now. The reason, this is what my guide said 2 days ago. I mean, I was just, you and I talked a bit, but I was just so unsettled. It was just literally, you know, if I don't take tranquilizers, I don't take sleeping pills, but if I had some, because I was so tired of feeling agitated, and it was just driving me nuts. And, you know, our guides, I kept asking our guides, what's going on? What's going on? And they kept saying, well, it's solstice. And then they said, well, it's the planetary alignment. Okay, fine. But that's still often, once I know what's going on, it'll calm down.
Oh my gosh, Linda. Okay. I listen to you and it's just like, oh, thank God for this woman. Thank God I found somebody who speaks my language, because it's like when I'm going through something like this and I don't know what it is. I don't know why. And the minute I learn, you know, what it is, it's like, oh, and I'm so much better. It's like, I know it's going to happen. I know the feeling, and I don't even know how to describe it except Adam in a jar with a lid on. And unsettled. And I think questioning is a good part of it for me. When I question a little bit, I've had some of my biggest growths. But that's what you said, that it's so, so true, that it just gets better when we know.
Yeah. I mean, I finally went back to our guides. This has happened more times than once, but I just said, there's more. You're not telling me the whole picture. I said, I can feel it. I don't know what more it is, but I know how I feel when the square peg is not fallen into the square hole.
Mhm.
And so that's when they said, yes, there's more. And it's an important piece, but I just want to be sure it makes sense to you. So that's when they began to say, and they kept giving it to me in pieces. It didn't all happen in one, I often go back upstairs to Earl's office and I sit down and say, could you channel again? And he's so wonderful. And he said, oh yeah, sure. And, but
Oh,
that's
what the
how
heck, Earl?
and he just knows, we've gone through this far more than one time. But anyway, so they said the solstice and the planetary alignment is an opening. And your planet needs help so badly. And in a way, it's an experiment, Barb. And so that's when they said, okay, you and Barb as souls have agreed to work together. Well, because you're an angelic soul, to prepare these love and compassion souls to come and deal with Earth. But they said what's different is that because we need some of these souls in adult bodies, because some will come in as babies, as newborn infants, but we are going to increase, and this is uncommon, but we are going to increase the number of walk-ins. And they said, advanced Earth-based souls that are currently adults will be asked at the soul level if they're willing to basically do a trade out, what I call a soul switch, which means it's not going to be me. I asked them and they said, no, Linda, your soul's not going to be changed. But I could be an example, although they would pick someone much younger than I am because they want more years on the planet. But an advanced Earth-based soul who's incarnate is going to be asked at the soul level if they're willing to the original animating soul of that body, for that Earth-based soul's original soul to leave and be replaced by an angelic realm soul, so that our higher selves are preparing angelic souls to come to Earth. It's an intense preparation, as I understand it. That's why we felt so agitated. And this soul switch, Barb, is a person who's an Earth-based soul, who's animated by an Earth-based soul, by an advanced Earth-based soul, will be asked at the soul level if they are willing to do a trade out. And if they agree, the angelic soul that your soul and my soul have prepared to deal with Earth life, that angelic soul will take over the adult body. And that will become an angelic realm soul human, if you will.
So we're teaching AR souls that aren't here.
That's right. That's right. It's my understanding that the number of angelic realm souls that are on Earth is very, very small. It's not common at all for AR souls to incarnate. And if they incarnate, this is what I've been told, if they incarnate, they only come to Earth because the creator of the angelic realm, that is the creator tied to Earth. That is the God that we know when we on Earth speak of God. Even if you use a different word, the source, the divine, great spirit. The creator, and I'm just telling you what I've been told. I know I sound like such an authority, but I'm just telling you what I've been told. The creator that you speak to, is the creator tied to earth? It, as best I understand it, it's not to say that the universe doesn't have, my understanding is divine energy, if we call God or the creator divine energy, there isn't just, this is hard to explain because I'm not sure I understand it very well. But the creator that you commune directly with is the God of earth. And so the angelic realm that we're talking about is to support earth, not somewhere else in the universe. So is this making sense?
Well, and okay, this is how I would say that. Okay, let me, can I feed it back to you?
Sure. Oh, sure, sure.
I would say, well, and from my experience, creator has a whole different meaning now because I stood before him.
Mm.
Okay, so I can't call him the creator, God the creator anymore, because I know that is an aspect of him.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So I will use the word everything because that's what I was told that he was.
Okay.
So everything, and so I'm just substituting my everything for your creator.
Okay.
Okay, so everything, okay, so AR souls, Angelic Realm, they don't come very often. They are here.
Mm-hmm.
And they are sent here, just not very many of them want to come really incarnate. Yeah. And they are the direct link to all or everything.
Yes.
And they are sent as an aspect of everything and all, everything.
Yes.
To do work on earth. So when I communicate with home, I'm communicating with the aspect of everything that deals with earth.
Yes. That all makes sense.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That,
Yeah.
because what I think is so important, Linda, what I think is one of the major, probably the major remembrance or the thing that I was allowed, seen, experienced, and actually it was with you, is that the Trinity, which, my whole house was built around the three. And my knowledge of that was very much the Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. But what I think people must know is that is not really that is a Trinity, but the Trinity is everything. And everything is so, you cannot withstand his vibration and his light.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because it is so,
Mm-hmm.
You can see, I saw a corner of it behind all,
Right.
but I know I couldn't withstand it.
Yeah.
So
sure.
we have all, who people might call God. I don't know what to call all. I mean, we have everything, and I don't know, he's beyond God.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, but he's everything. And this is what I think is so important for people to know. So there is, and I love that he's called everything because he is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And that word didn't come from me. He told me. So
Mm-hmm.
there's everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then everything has aspects of himself. and that as an angelic realm soul is an aspect and does work,
Mm-hmm.
everything has aspects, has given, designed aspects of himself to do what he needs to get done.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those aspects is all.
Mm-hmm.
And all is maybe what you call the earth god, what you said, maybe, but all is what I think we call maybe God.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But he isn't the Almighty. The
Mhm.
Almighty is everything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the closest aspect to everything
Mm-hmm.
is all,
Mm-hmm.
who I met and with
Mhm.
you.
Mm-hmm.
And I met everything too.
Mm-hmm.
And then another very important aspect of everything is his aspect. It's not a being.
Mm-hmm.
It's an aspect. It's an energy. It's like a plant. What we would say, like a planet that's shooting out energy and molten and these where I saw the souls born. Where I saw
Mm-hmm.
the souls born.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw, and Michael Newton, I told you I was on your way up there, and I to ask you about, because the creator, I knew, I thought about, remember I told you I've been so connected to Moses. And when I saw the creator, I really believed I saw God.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was creating souls. I saw it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, but what bothered me, and of course I was taken, I'm walking down the hall, that's the first time I've ever been taken that I remember. And oh man. So what bothered me was, and that's why I came to see you again, I was directed back to you, was it just, I said, wait a minute. At first it was just God. And I just said, well, wait a minute. After I got over, and they only revealed this, Linda, they didn't, like, all I remember was I was walking down the hall again.
Mm-hmm.
And then little by little, they revealed what I had seen to me.
Mhm.
Because had they just, I would have imploded, exploded. I'm not built for that.
Right.
Humans aren't built for it, right?
Right.
So this body isn't built. So little by little,
Mhm.
they gave it to me.
Mm-hmm.
But what I didn't, when I finally had it and sat with it, which is something you sit with quietly, and who in the heck do you tell, right? It bothered me because the creator was not loving.
Mm-hmm.
The creator was not warm. The
Mm-hmm.
creator, quite frankly, was not human. I mean, that didn't have human,
Mm-hmm.
didn't have a personality.
Right. Right. Right.
It had no personality. And I
Yeah.
thought, no, wait a minute. That can't be, that bothered me. That can't be God. And I thought, do you mean, like, I've had direct experience with this. Like, wait a minute, am I crazy? Because that wasn't God that I know.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't feel love from the creator.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even feel the warmth of, I saw it, but I didn't feel it. And it bothered me that I had that wrong, because I know I have directly,
Mm-hmm.
when you can look at somebody that you don't even know, when you find divine love, when you experience it, you're looking at somebody that you don't even know, and you love them more than your beloved children, your husband, anything. So I know what divine love is, and that wasn't it. And that's when I came back up to you.
Mm-hmm.
And when I was told and shown these aspects, and I think an important thing is that people understand that.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard of, have you seen that written anywhere? I don't know, I haven't.
What I think, and I'll check this out later tonight with our guides. So Okay, simple story here. I was raised as a modern American Jew. And when you're raised, the reason I say that is I was raised very strongly in a Jewish family, which that is very meaningful to me. And I won't go in right now to why it's so meaningful to me. But, I'm not a religious Jew. I'm not an Orthodox Jew. And I think I know why all that's important, but set that aside for now. When Earl and I moved to Boulder, whatever it is, 23 or so years ago, I discovered a group of, I discovered people that there was like a congregation here tied to the teachings of Kabbalah.
Yeah. Okay, I don't want to interrupt. I'm completely, absolutely driven to understand Kabbalah. It's
Okay.
it's part of what you're going to be doing with me.
Anyway, so we came to Boulder. There was a Kabbalistic community here. Oh gosh, this is where stories just get so big. And I started learning about the teachings of Kabbalah, and I have studied it a fair amount, so I'm just trying to make this simple. And what I realized is that there was this portion of Judaism, there were these teachings in Judaism that go probably as far back as 1,000 years before the crucifixion.
Right.
Which I was never taught as a modern American Jew. And one aspect of the teachings, just to relate to what you just said, and anyway, we got very involved in this community. But what I began to learn about as some of the foundational teachings of Kabbalah is about the tree of life.
Yeah.
Or what is called the Eitz Chaim. Eitz means tree and Chaim means life, the tree of life. It's an ancient symbol. It isn't just Judaic. Anyway, it's an ancient symbol. But what I think relates to that is this Jupiter and Saturn alignment. We talked about this. One major part, because the tree of life has 10 what they call spheres or sephirot, and they require balance. It all, it looks like a Christmas tree. It's like a pine tree. And Gevurah and Chesed must be balanced to reach the divine. It's just a piece of the tree. But Chesed being mercy, compassion, which is Jupiter, and Gevurah being discernment, healthy boundaries, law, healthy law, if you will, which is Saturn. Gevurah and Chesed must have healthy balance in order to reach the top of the tree, which is the connection to the divine. And so Chesed is this loving, compassionate, merciful energy, but it has to be balanced with discernment and structure and law. And I think when you talk about the Creator didn't feel just all encompassing, wrap his arms around you and love you, love you, love you. It's just like, how do we raise healthy children? We love them beyond love them. And we set boundaries. We teach them structure. You got to do your homework. You got to eat. You can't eat candy all day, or whatever. The Creator's that same way. The Creator is loving beyond loving, but has discernment and appropriate structure. Both are crucial.
Well, the Creator has a singular purpose, as I saw and as I was told.
Okay.
And the singular purpose is to make souls, to give birth to souls.
Okay.
And right behind him, of course, is all, who is right, you know, and behind him, of course, is everything. And they are, of course, directing.
It's about balance. It's about
Well,
balance.
this thing, when you said that word, it rang so deep into me that this is this is exactly what he's doing. I woke up and the first thing out of my mouth, I'm often spoken to, or I've caught myself several times literally coming into my body, barely making it.
That doesn't surprise me. Yeah.
Yeah. And it, you know, oftentimes first thing in the morning, and of course when I'm in water, but out of my mouth, out loud, I said, for the first time, I believe.
Interesting.
There's a part of me that believes. And I have to tell you, Linda, it's a stunning feeling, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a stunning feeling.
Yeah.
For me to come to the realization that, well, just to look square in the face of what I've always been.
Good. I've walked that journey in different ways myself, accepting and then questioning and then accepting and then questioning. Yeah. So I need to run. I know I need to run. You do too.
Love you.
All right. Love you too. Take good care.
Bye, dear.